Yes.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. May as well get into it
Yeah. Let's
before I start getting too self-conscious about the way I sound.
sure. Let's go ahead and start the cast.
Dude, rent's due today. You know that?
I just paid mine this afternoon.
Yeah, I paid mine this morning.
It's a
May as well
sad
just get it
day.
out of the way. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very sad day when that happens. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
I know.
It's tough.
It's
Fucking
tough.
sucks.
I know. It's independence.
Yeah. Oh God, you're
It's
telling me, man.
it's so great, but it sucks at the same time.
Yeah.
It it looks like it's sunny there.
It is. It's totally sunny. It's supposed to be freaking warm today, man. What the heck? Oh, it's in my pocket. It's like, no way. Let me look at the weather.
I mean, you gotta
Because
tell me. You gotta
it's
tell the
supposed to
listeners.
be it's supposed to be like 8 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday.
What
And
was it?
yesterday was 14 degrees warmer than the day before.
What was the high of yesterday?
Oh.
74.
Today it's supposed to be 74.
Oh.
Yesterday it was 66. Does that math? 4, 8. Yeah, 8 degrees.
Oh my gosh. That just
Yeah.
sounds so nice.
The craziest part though is like this coming Tuesday, the high is 57 and the low is 36. Like,
Well, at night, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. High desert getting low.
yeah. It's so crazy, you walk outside in the morning and you're like, holy shit. Oh my God.
You're like, it's cold.
Yeah,
It's
because I've been walking out without my crew neck on because it's usually like 66 in the apartment. I'll walk outside and it just instant 30-degree drop. Just like, oh bitch. I
yeah.
gotta get into that car.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
do you like layer up when you go outside or do you plan for the high?
I Well, I mean, I'm inside for most of the day, so I fucking, I just, you know,
Yeah. It's kind of it's like the reason I asked that is because it reminds me of hunting cuz Eastern Oregon
Mhm.
hunting, you'll go out there you're up at the crack of chickens, not even. You're out there at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. You're waking up at 4 o'clock, getting out there by 5 so that you're in place before the sun comes up.
Yeah,
And it's 23 degrees outside. So
yeah,
you are layered and you're sitting outside for a long time too. It's not like, "Oh, well, I'll just put on some layers so that I don't get cold out there, but then I'm going to get back in the truck where it's warm." No, you're out there for 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes at a time. But then the second like 10 o'clock hits out there, you're like, "Oh my gosh, get this shit off me," because then it gets to like 60 degrees.
yeah,
And then by 2 o'clock, everyone's like, "All right, it's nap time." And then you go back out at 3 for your evening hunt,
yeah.
layering up again.
That just like, I had a little flashback of memories there. If
Yeah.
I moved back to Oregon, I would totally like pick up bow hunting again.
Yeah.
Maybe not even bow hunting. Well, probably, but um,
Why not
just
rifle, Bobby?
archery in general. Dude, there's something about like
Here you go.
pulling that string back. It's just like so it's like so peaceful but like so violent, you know? It's like you really have to have a steady fucking hand.
Yeah.
I mean, same with rifle,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're using your own physical strength to
Right.
hold back a certain poundage of weight.
Right. I mean, it's in my opinion, I think it's the most natural way of hunting because I mean, that's how before America came over to Americans or the pioneers came over to America, what did they use? I mean, Native Americans, they used arrows, bow and
Yeah.
arrows. I
Imagine
think
using a spear.
I mean, you could find a happy balance. Deer hunt with a rifle, but then elk hunt with a bow.
Yikes, dude.
I don't
Dude,
know. Can you even do that?
yeah, thought so. Maybe not.
Because I'll
Anyways,
tell you this.
go
Sorry. No, sorry. I'll tell you this. If I am financially able, I will probably still go back to Oregon to hunt. Unless I claim residency in a different state, I'd probably still go back to Oregon and hunt and just pay for an out-of-state tag, which kind of sucks because it's probably really expensive in Oregon, being
Probably.
the kind of state it is.
Yeah, you start to appreciate Oregon a lot more once you're out of it.
Yeah.
I'd say once you're out of it, in my opinion, once you're out of it for a few years. It's taken me, I haven't lived in Oregon since I was 21, and I'm 25, so it's been 4 years, and now I'm just starting to appreciate everything that Oregon has to offer.
It really does. I'm not going to say I hate the state, but I just am not, I can't do the Northwest. I just can't do it. The gray and the raining. I've lived in New York now for, let's see, September, October, November, December, January, March. 7 months now, going on 8. So if I were still in Oregon, it would be rainy and gray. Gray and rainy. Over here, we've definitely had our gray and rainy days, but I'm going to say majority of the days we have in New York, they're cold, like 28 degrees, anywhere from, I would say, 25 to 35 in the winter, but sunny. There's not a cloud in the sky. And it's sunny, and I wake up and I feel energized. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
But even on the gray days, the sunny days outweigh the gray days. So you're like, okay, well, this is kind of a nice little change of pace. Versus Oregon is gray and rainy for 6 months out of the year. You're like, all right, I've had enough.
More than 6 months. 9.
Probably. Probably.
Yeah. But I mean, it's weird because like I've totally been like I love Vegas. I love that I know that I'm going to wake up and most likely it's going to be sunny.
Yeah.
It the weather or the temperature obviously fluctuates between it could be sunny and 120 out, or it could be sunny and like right now it's 60 out. Yesterday, it was colder than that, but it was sunny. Like I think they said there's only like 30 days out of the whole year that Vegas doesn't have sun. So
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out a guesstimate, but it's low. It's a low number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I really like it here, but I haven't been back to Oregon in
A hot minute.
since I helped Liam change his oil.
Yeah. Well, I
Whatever
mean,
that was.
the round 2s, Desmond hit that up yesterday, and I thought it was you. Because I didn't really read it at first, and I thought it was you, and I'm like, why the hell does he want to know what my address is? I'm like, but then I read it again, and it was Desmond, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it kind of reminded me, which we probably should talk about after the podcast, is we're probably going to have to plan this thing if we want to have anything happen.
We're gonna have to take the
initiative.
leadership role on that.
Right. But dude, I'm so looking forward to it. I need it so bad. I need like a week of just hanging.
To be honest, maybe we just talk about it a little bit right now.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I mean, the people who are going probably listen to it.
So why don't we just like... It's because how much time can you take off? Are you free for like whatever?
As of right now, yes.
So then why don't we just plan for you and I to be out there for 5 to 7 days, and those guys can come and go whenever they want. If Desmond can only be out there for 3 days, then he'll be there for 3 days.
Sure.
Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to be limited by time because other people's schedules. I'm like, I really, really, really want to be out there for like 5 to 7 days, just like enjoying it.
Right. It's probably best to do it like you said, like do like a Wednesday through Monday kind of situation where you do have the weekend. so that, let's say you and I are working, we don't have to take as many days off during the week,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and same with our buddies. But I have a feeling that, like, Jeff and Yanni, I don't think they'll have an issue getting the time off.
Yeah.
You, me, Desmond, he said that he can't really take the time off, but he could come, okay, Friday
Yeah.
after work, or you leave Friday midday, you work a half a day on Friday or something like that. Then
Mhm.
you come out till Sunday.
Yeah.
And same with Alex, but I really want to get out there and just spend some time with y'all, because it's been way too long, because I think the last
so
time we
long.
were all together was
4 years ago.
Is that right? I think it was that last. Oh yeah, shit, it was Bend, wasn't
4
it?
years, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Fuck. Dude, I need to go trout fishing. I want to trout fish so bad. It's crazy. I don't know why.
Any
I
kind of
love.
any
I just.
rainbow
Yeah,
trout, brown trout, any just
Dude, I love trout fishing.
yeah,
It's like one of my favorite types of fishing.
on a boat or like fly fishing.
I mean, dude, let's
Trolling?
just find a pond and throw a fucking spinner in there.
I'm over here getting like my dad. I'm like, okay, we can troll, we can fly fish, we can, you know.
I am satisfied with just throwing a fucking lure into a pond and catching nothing. It is just a riot for me.
You know what? I'm trying to think. I might have to ask Alex, my brother-in-law,
Right.
because I would love to invite my dad, but my dad he's too serious about fishing. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be a teaching lesson
Yeah, I know it.
from Douglason.
So I'm like, okay, that, like, I mean, Grant, this is like the boys thing, but like, if you want to get on a boat, Alex has the hookups for a boat. So I could easily be like, hey, maybe that won't work because him and my sister are having a baby in like a week. So,
Wade.
oh, boom. There you go.
Wade, bro.
That's right.
Wade's got a boat.
Your dad has a boat too, but would your dad let
No,
you?
we're not gonna put a fucking. We're not gonna put that in a pond. Could you imagine?
Yeah, my dad would never ever let me take his boat ever.
Oh, that's not true.
It probably isn't true, but he'd be like, he's like, "Can I go?" And then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine."
Yeah, Dad.
But
Sure.
this might be illegal, but I want to get out there and have a few brewskis while
That's
fishing.
not illegal.
It can't be.
No.
As long as the person who's not who okay, it's just probably just like yeah, it's like driving. The person who's
Yeah.
driving the boat can't have alcohol.
Eric, you're worrying about these things and you shouldn't be.
That's true. But no,
Good
I understand what you're
gracious.
saying. I mean, like,
Yeah.
even if if we choose to go to like Lake Tahoe, I would ship in to rent a boat for a day, because I'm sure they have boat rentals out there.
No.
And I don't know how far the drive is from Lake Tahoe from like the Portland area, but you could fly in and then we could just, a group of us can mob down to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's that long of a drive. I think maybe top 6 hours.
Go golfing.
Right. Golf, fish,
Mm.
go hiking.
Dude, I'm down for a hike. An Oregon hike?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
California, that would be.
Yeah.
But I need to have my 1 week vacation.
Dude, I'm ready to actually like leave my phone with my parents. for
Yeah,
that whole
dude.
time.
Seriously.
Like,
Turn it off.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Gosh, could you imagine just not having to worry about anything? Dude, it's like it's almost like reminiscent of like elementary school.
I know.
You
Well,
just like
it's because it's like you say, it's like I'm looking at my phone constantly and I'm always replying to emails.
so annoying.
That's like I'm constantly thinking about next week on the weekends, and it's really
Yeah.
annoying.
Dude, it is.
Granted, I'll be out of school, so that probably won't be an occurrence as much as it is now.
Yeah.
But I still, for my end, I need to decide what I'm doing. I think for starters, we need to plan this trip first
Mm-hmm.
because my sister's having her baby in a couple of weeks. So my parents are going down to Texas to visit in May, like late May. There's a high likelihood that I'm probably going to go down there and stay a couple days, a week, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to fly back to New York. And then, as much as I really don't want to do it, I think, depending on when our trip is, I'm going to drive back to Oregon. And there's
Oh boy.
the more and more I'm thinking about it, there's a high likelihood that I might stay in Oregon for the summer and just
Yeah.
stay with my parents and work in Oregon because I just can't do the things I love to do in New
Right.
York. I can't
Yeah.
go out camping. I can't go play golf. I mean, you can, but it's a pain in the ass to golf around here. It takes 30 minutes to get up to the golf course. You know, it's actually really not that bad, but to do that every time to play the same course, you know, I want to be able to go out and have fun and adventure and, you know, do the things I like to do, camp and stuff. Can't really do that in New York, which sucks because if I go back to Oregon, it means I'm still going to have to pay for my rent here. So I'm not really in my own
Oh.
place. I'd be living with
Oh.
my parents again,
Yeah.
which isn't terrible. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of sucks a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Makes
I,
sense.
I need to figure out that for myself because depending on what I first and foremost need to figure out the trip and then, okay, anyways, we're getting too, no one gives a shit.
All right, let's fucking talk, dude. But let's talk about the week, bro. Because it's been a week.
Laid
Last
on
time we
me.
talked, I was going golfing with Aaron.
Right.
That went well. I don't want to talk too much more about golf, but I did pretty good.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah, I did pretty good.
are you finding enjoyment in golfing?
Dude, it was weird on like hole 13.
Mm-hmm.
I squared up to the ball and I was using the old pitch and wedge
Yeah.
and I was like I looked down at the club and I was like, it like all like came rushing back. I was like, whoa. I'm like, this is exactly how I used to hold the club. Cause like I did my parents had me in like a golf club for club golf for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stellar, bro.
Yeah.
And like on that hole, I looked down at the club and I'm like, yep. I'm like, it all came back. And then after that swing, got it right on the green within like 5 yards of the hole. And I was like, oh, figured it out. And then that's when it all fucking came back. I was like, yep, I'm getting a lot better all of a sudden. And I've only played golf twice. That was
Yep.
my second time playing.
Yep. It's those shots that bring you back every time because it's inevitable. You're gonna get mad out there.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get frustrated.
Oh yeah.
But it's those shots that bring you back that you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That was satisfying.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't want to go too into golf, but
Yep.
I mean, uh, I would say that my short game is where I'm the strongest on my chipping and putting.
Yeah.
And I would say my wedges. So like I'd say P through 9-iron or 9-iron through my wedges. I'm pretty decent at, and then putting of.
Yeah.
And it's when you hit those shots, it brings you back all the time because I get frustrated out there. Maybe a little bit of that is because I've played so much golf with Jeff and he's influenced me poorly.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, Jeff.
Little dig on Jeff.
Sorry, Jeff. um,
No, you're not.
uh, uh, but when you do hit those shots, it's like, oh, all right, coming back next week because I know I'm gonna hit that same shot again one time.
Bobby, I'll tell you what. My driving is unmatchable.
Yeah,
It actually is.
yeah.
Dude, cuz like it took me a few holes for me to like figure it out, and I had this goofy fucking stance starting out.
Yeah.
Super wide power stance.
Yeah,
Front foot angled slightly forward,
yeah.
and I was reaching, like I was overextending.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And Aaron made just a comment. He's like, dude, he's like, you're definitely overextending. He's like, that's probably why it keeps on shooting off to the right.
yeah,
And he's like, just tighten up your stance a little bit. And I really just, I didn't want to take advice from Aaron, but these days I've been obviously more open-minded. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna try it out because this game doesn't matter at all.
right.
So I tighten up the stance a little bit. And sure as shit, bro, I drove it like 320 yards. And it was straight as a fucking arrow.
Yeah, just and
I
it
was-
kind of went like the ball flight was kind of like this. It kind of
just money crushed it.
Oh yeah.
And Aaron was like, "Oh fuck," and that hit got in his head. He was like, "What?" I mean, he outdrove me still because I hit a tree,
Yeah.
but ball flew fucking straight. If I just would have set up my feet a little bit differently, more towards the hole, because
Yeah.
I was aimed right at that fucking tree,
Yeah.
it would have been a money shot.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of people's weaknesses in golf is they don't really know where to aim.
Yeah,
It's
that's
because
mine.
what they'll do is they'll line their body up to the target, and you can't do that. You have to. It's called parallel left. So you have to aim your feet line to where you want to start the ball, and if you're depending on how you're going to shape the ball. So if you're going to hit a fade where it goes left to right, you need to turn your body to the left, but keep your club face pointed towards the target or right, and then you swing along your feet line. Anyways, we're getting to. I saw you laughing there. You're like,
Yeah.
"Uh oh, he's getting into this."
Golf 101 over here with Eric Olson. All right. Anyways, let's
Yeah.
continue talking about the week.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the golf went well.
Yep.
Ended up beating Aaron. That was a cool victory.
Yeah.
But anyways, the week at hand, bro. I'm like peak level stress.
Yeah.
Dude, it's tough, man. This new shift at work to fulfill the management position in Fab. It's been real tough on me. I'm starting to learn how much I don't know
Mm-hmm.
because obviously I've been at the welding table for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And my knowledge on our products is strictly on the weldables. Anything that has a weld on it is what I know, and anything that doesn't have a weld on it, I don't really know. But the learning is happening. Every day I go in there with an open mind, wanting to learn the products more, and it's happening. It's developing quick, but it's like every time I learn something new, my stress just flies up, whereas I feel like it should be going down if I'm learning more, but it's like, okay, but now I have to remember all of this that I'm learning, and so yeah, it's tough, and tough. But it was a good week. This is what you want. Typically if you're a goal-oriented person, but there's like different types of stress, obviously, but I think this is the healthy kind.
Yeah.
I think this is exactly what I've been asking for,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I think it's also like you said, you're learning new things, And I mean, to learn new things, it's stressful.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating too.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I mean, you've never done this kind of thing before, so you are learning all these new things. You're figuring these things out, and that's inherently going to add stress and frustration and all these other emotions. You just got to learn to work through those stresses and emotions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you learn real quick because obviously the team is going to take after the leader. So
Well,
if I'm leading,
sorry, go ahead.
if I'm leading the shop with a poor attitude, that's going to have a direct reflection on my subordinates.
Right.
And the way that their attitude is usually, unless you have subordinates that are there to pick you up,
Right.
which in an ideal world is what you would have.
And I think that has to do with just, I mean, being a team. Your team's going to follow the leader. And if a leader's got a piss poor attitude, then the team's going to have a piss poor attitude. If the leader's a jerk, the followers are going to be jerks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at, historically speaking, every leader that has been shit, look at the majority of the population who follow that leader.
Yeah.
They're shit.
Yeah. And you got to have a very clear goal, and that has to keep being reinstated regularly.
Yeah.
Because if you lose sight of the goal, then it's like, where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like if you're driving from Vegas to Portland, Oregon,
yeah,
and you don't have a map, and you're just going, if you're just driving,
yeah,
where the fuck are we going?
Right.
You know, you need some sort of direction. You need that.
Right. You need those waypoints. Those signs.
Yeah. Goals along the way to the ultimate goal.
Right.
You need to reward your team. You need to tell them they're doing a good job. You need to keep the morale up. Like, you learn all these things as you go. You start to learn more about people's personalities and what works for them versus other people. And it's like, and then you have to remember all that. Okay, so if it works with this person but not with this person, I have to remember that. Because if I try to do something that doesn't work with that person, it's going to be a bad end result.
Reward them with Jolly Ranchers.
Jeez.
Was that a high school flashback?
That was more of an elementary school flashback.
Oh.
But yeah, it's going.
Oh, that's good.
Week by week.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, by the time it's Friday, it's like, yes, dude. Yes.
Kick up the old shoes, gonna relax.
Yeah. Last night I stayed up late.
Oh.
I stayed up pretty late. I was up till like 11:30. I know.
Okay.
That's late for me, Bobby.
I went to bed early last night. I went to bed at 12:30. I'm like, dude, I've been going to bed early as hell because I've been having to wake up so damn early because I have performances early in the morning. So I've been going to bed at like 11:30. 11, like that's like I've been turning everything off at 11, and usually I turn everything off at 1.
Right.
But I've been turning everything off at 11 because if I turn everything off at 12:30, 1 o'clock in between there, because I'm waking up around 6 o'clock in the morning, dude. I wake up if I do that, I'm exhausted. I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
And I usually never wake up exhausted, hardly ever. I have enough juice in me to be like, all right, I'm gonna get myself to my coffee maker. But this past, like, because when I first started to get into the rhythm of going to bed a little earlier, it was hard, and I'd end up falling asleep around 1. I would wake up and I'm exhausted. Good. And I couldn't even, like, I had to sit up, and you know how you when you wake up early, you just sit there with your feet off the bed, and you're just kind of with the eyes shut, just hanging over, just slouched, just being like, this fucking sucks. Just contemplating going back to sleep.
It's good though. It's good for you.
And so I've been going to, I started to go to bed at turning everything off at 11, and I ended up falling asleep at 11:30. And then it's a little easier to wake up in the morning, and now it's become a habit. So like last night, I went to bed a little later than I usually do. So I went to bed at like 12:30 last night because I was exhausted, and I came home and I took a nap that day too because I ended up not falling asleep till later the night before, and I had to wake up at 5:50 or 5:45. But I have to do this because for me, I have to get my body engaged for singing. And think about when you're laying down, you're making very acute breaths when you're sleeping. They're
Yeah.
not You're not expanding your ribs, you're not expanding your lungs whatsoever. It's very short breaths, you know? So when you're doing that, you become in this state of kind of very just kind of like stiff, I guess you could say. So for me, I have to get all of my stuff working in my body. I got to start moving my body, and I stretch because singing opera, a lot of people don't know this. You have to use core. You've got to use
workout.
all it really is. Like, and I know that my core strength has depleted tremendously since I stopped lifting weights when you left 4 years ago. Because every time I'm done singing, my lower back hurts. And a telltale sign if you have a weak core is if you have lower back pain.
Totally.
And for me, that I'm using all of those cores, my diaphragm, my intercostal muscles, all of that stuff, my whatever these things are called, your lats, the lats, using that to spread my ribs apart and keep them apart the entire time I'm singing.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. So I have to move. I have to stretch. I got to get those muscles activated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wake up so much earlier to perform and at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Sucks.
Nice. Well, it doesn't suck, but it's just it's a process. This week, it's really the gym has been super fulfilling lately. I've just been hitting PRs left and fucking right, and I know at some point soon I'm not gonna be making the progress that I'm currently making right now.
Yeah.
Because last week I hit 405 on deadlift, which is sick. That is like an ultimate goal for anybody who's gym inclined. And then this week I hit 315 on squat, which is another very, very all-time goal-esque thing for most people who are consistently training.
Yeah.
And the last goal is 225 on bench. I haven't hit that yet. I attempted it, but I didn't hit it. I hit 215. So
yeah,
slowly getting there. Each week though, it seems like my PRs are going up by like anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds, which is just like unheard of.
Yeah.
Obviously the steroids are a contributor to that.
Well, that'll be good because you're setting yourself these goals, and now once you go off them, you're like, okay, this is the line I have to hit.
Yeah.
And if you know you could do that naturally, that's going to feel way better than, versus when you were on steroids, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what when you say I hit all these goals, that's what I think. I'm like, okay, well, he is on steroids, but then I'm like, that'll be good because when he goes off, I'm like, he's going to be striving to get to that because it's going to be hard to get back.
It's going to be a total battle.
Right. But to get to them, that's what's going to motivate you to keep going to the gym every day, to keep eating hitting your macros each week too.
Yeah.
I probably can't bench more than 100 pounds, so you're a little further.
So last week I said Instagram was getting shut off again, and so after the podcast, it's sure as shit. I figured it out. I think next thing today after the podcast, I think we need to get rid of Facebook.
Yeah.
Just strictly because of Marketplace.
Can't you just turn Marketplace off on Facebook? But then you would never go on. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
I need to get rid of the Facebook because I noticed, dude, every time I like pick up the phone, straight to Facebook Marketplace, dude. It's just like, why? You don't need to spend money, you stupid idiot. I don't ever spend money on Marketplace, honestly. Like I'll message people frequently on shit. Like last week I hit some dude up about 18-inch subwoofers. I'm like, what do you need 18-inch subwoofers for? Two of them. I was gonna put them in the Ranger.
Dude.
What? Do I want my passenger to be deaf? Like,
Do we need
so
to get the TLC guys to come have one sit down with you, one on one,
intervention,
an intervention?
spending intervention.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. I'm gonna get rid of Facebook today though, and that'll be good. Also a new I don't know, goal. Is it a goal? I'm gonna stop smoking weed, Eric.
Oh,
I stopped last night.
yes. I love to hear it. I love to
Yeah.
hear it. I'm sorry. I love to hear it.
Yeah. Last night I stopped. Just cold turkey on it.
Yeah.
Gone.
As long as you can, and you've done it before.
Oh yeah.
You've done it before.
So my way, because I the last time I did it, I just went about it super mentally poorly.
Yeah.
Does that even make sense?
Yeah.
I just went about
yeah.
it super wrong, and I
Yeah.
just like felt all the withdrawals, dude. I felt them all.
Yeah.
So this time, I think only thing I can think of is you know Rogue, my parents' dog.
Yeah.
That dog is crazy regimented, like with his food schedule.
Yeah.
Same thing with me at around 5 to 7 p.m. in the day. Weed schedule, bro. That's like when my body's telling me, okay, I'm like, it's time to light up.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to get that in the system.
Yeah.
And so I think, because last night I just kind of powered through. I powered through that whole time. I was moving the storage unit to the garage that I just got here at the apartments.
Yeah.
And so I was occupied, like heavily occupied during that time. So I think as long as I can be occupied in that window, I think I should be able to get over this little withdrawal period in the next week.
Yeah.
And I should be just good to go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very motivated to cut that out. And it's also almost time for me to re-up on the stockpile, and that's just going to be an expensive situation that I don't need to spend money on.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
love to hear it.
See you later.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it's not like I'm not anti-weed anymore. It's just my goals right now don't align with it, and it's just I think it's pulling me down more than it's pushing me up.
I have my own opinions on anything that you put in your body naturally, but then I also have the opinions of at the end of the day, I can't tell, I can't tell the average Joe what to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's their opinions and that's their viewpoints and all I can do is to give them some different viewpoints and try to get them to have an open mind, That's all I could do.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. As for me, I won't do it, but I just, that's just me. Everybody's
Your goals
different.
don't really align with it neither. Like
No,
it'd do
yeah.
more harm than good.
And the thing is my parents were really strict about that kind of stuff growing up. They still are. My parents are very
Yeah.
And there are some studies that I agree with it. There's some studies that I don't agree with. But it's like you said, my goals don't really align for that. I'm sure that there are classical musicians out there that smoke weed and do other things. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's just not who I am. I can have a good old time by myself.
Yes.
It's because for me, I feel like it's hypocritical to say, well, socially I'll drink. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's
Mhm.
not hypocritical. I don't know. Because I'll drink.
I see what
I
you're
just,
trying to say.
I'll drink, but I don't drink to like super like
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's weird.
yeah.
Substances. It's weird.
It's close, man. It's close. I'd say in the next 10 years, I think weed is going to be just about as socially acceptable as alcohol. I could almost see I could almost see alcohol taking a turn and being less acceptable than weed in the next 10 years.
Well, you know what? You know those vape things people are doing. Those whatever. I Now
What,
I'm not gonna
what do
say
you
this is a factual thing, but I heard.
nicotine or
Yeah, the nicotine vape things.
oh, okay.
Just a dab. What do they call those things? It's like
The
vapes.
vapes?
Vapes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're saying there's what
Like
I've
puff
heard.
bars?
Yeah. What I've heard is that those are significantly worse for you than a regular cigarette.
Oh yeah.
So people are
Have you
like, doctors are saying, and I don't know if this is true, but this is something I heard. They're saying doctors preferred you to smoke. Okay. They say
yeah.
that's what they say is they say cigarettes are less harmful than the puff thingy bobbers.
Puff bar, vapes,
Right.
jewels, whatever the hell
Right.
they're doing.
Correct.
Well, have you ever looked up popcorn lung?
No. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Dude, that looks bad.
Yeah.
And that's like, and you look at somebody who's been a frequent cigarette smoker for 50 years versus somebody who's been vaping for 5. And
Yeah.
it's like, it looks, I mean, in some cases, it looks like people who vape have been smoking for 50 years.
Yeah. We're not condoning any of it, by the way. That's all bad, but we're just,
We're just speaking on it.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah. No more. And I think another thing is at some point, you really need to start focusing on potential opportunities for your future. So let's say I continue smoking weed every day, right? Like I've been doing for about 9 months. You smoke weed every single day, dude. That shit's gonna be in your system for at least a month. At least a month. And there's a couple of options, man. I mean, let's say you get an opportunity for a job opportunity, right? And you have to take a drug test, and this all happens within the span of a week. They offer you a job, you accept the job. Now I have to take a drug test. Okay, so do I go get some fake piss at the dispensary and try to go that route? Or do I, miss the opportunity because I was being dumb?
And you see, I think that plays into what your ethical morals are.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, going and buying piss from a dispensary, like what?
That's a thing.
I didn't even know that was a thing. But to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, when you said that, I'm like, oh shit, that is like so morally wrong, ethically wrong. You know what I mean?
It's just like, it's in my mind, dude. I just have never been a big risk taker like that, and I
Right.
know if I tried to do it, it wouldn't work.
Right.
The lady would be like, she'd be like, "All right, you're gonna pee in this cup," and I'd be like, "All right," and
What's in
she'd
your
stay
pocket?
then she'd stay in the bathroom with me. Okay, I'm gonna watch you piss.
Right.
What? What?
I have stage fright.
Because yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to plan for the future.
Right. In some places, I think now some places, like some companies, if you take a drug test and marijuana comes up, I think I don't know, but my assumption would be that a lot of places don't really care. But if you're working for a private company, that private company has every right to say if you have any kind of drugs in your system, we have the right to not hire you.
Yeah, and I haven't really come across any company that doesn't really not care.
Right. Well,
You
I
know?
think that's one of those things that is still like weed might be legal, but
Yeah, it's still their company.
Right.
They get to make the rules and regulations of their company. And that's
100%.
actually something that really frustrates me for some reason, and maybe I need to just let it go. But when people start to bash on companies for not
Oh,
hiring them because they didn't pass the drug test even though it's
right.
legal, I'm like, cuz it's their
Their company.
company.
They yeah.
They make the rules. It doesn't have anything to do with the state laws
Right.
at all.
Right.
Like, you're the one who fucked up. You're the one who decided to smoke the weed. You're the one who failed the test.
Right.
Has nothing to do with anything outside of that company.
Right.
Like, wait, that didn't make sense. Anyways, you know what I'm trying to fucking say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's weird.
yeah.
It's a weird dynamic. I mean, my opinion is you shouldn't put anything in your body that's not meant to be in it. You know what I mean? Some people might not agree with that, which is fine. But obviously, also, I mean, and also I'm a big advocator of that too. Is obviously the lens, like we talked about last podcast. It's the lens I
Right.
look through. My lens is music. What is my instrument?
Your lungs,
My body.
your everything.
Right. My body is my instrument. I'm not gonna go light a cigarette and throw it in a cello. I'm not
Well,
gonna
and
leave a cello
that's a
out
good
in
point.
the rain, or I'm not gonna leave
Yeah.
a trumpet in a puddle of water.
Yeah. And here's a good example. Personal experience is I used to not have a very good grasp on my anger
Yeah.
a few years back. And a lot of the times what I would do is I would punch shit. Like I would punch hard shit. And like what's my instrument? It's my hands.
Right.
How am I supposed to weld if I don't have my hands to weld with? And so that I think that was actually my mom and maybe Alyssa who told me that was, you can't be fucking up your hands when your hands are those are your money makers.
Right.
My hands are my money. If I don't have good enough hands to hold a torch steady when I'm TIG welding, if I don't have good enough hands to hold the filler rod steady when I'm TIG welding,
Right.
I can't do anything.
Right. Have you have you ever do I want to ask that? Do you still find instances where your anger gets to the best of you sometimes?
I love that you asked that. It's a perfect question. Yesterday actually.
Yeah.
Dude, yesterday was a really challenging day for me.
Yeah.
Mostly because God, it's just like, don't I just set myself up for failure here? Steroids. Yesterday was the first day that I really felt enraged.
Yeah.
I really felt like I just wanted to throw a car. Like I didn't just want to throw a something. I wanted to throw a fucking car.
Okay,
Like
Hulk.
I was just fucking pissed, dude.
Yeah.
I was working on this project at work. And I didn't even finish everything I was supposed to do yesterday, but I was working on it for 8 hours.
Ooh.
Oh my God, dude. Do you know what a lathe is?
No.
So a lathe is
I was gonna say
you
like a sheath. The sword.
oh,
The sword goes into. No.
a
I know.
lathe is a fabrication tool, an expensive typically fabrication tool, where you can chuck up a part. But you know when you're like scrolling through Facebook and you see people lathing wood, so they chuck up a part in something that spins this piece around,
Oh
and then
yes,
they
yes,
go
yes,
and they
yes.
like machine it down and
Yeah.
form something cool.
Yeah.
So same thing. We have a lathe at the shop, and I was machining these fittings, and they're made out of stainless steel. And basically, the process is you chuck it up, you face it, so you make the face of the part nice, clean, and flat. You drill. Um, you have to hit it with a center. What is it called? Center drill to get your hole started. Then you go in there with your drill bit size. You drill a through hole through this like inch long fitting. And drilling through stainless is tough because stainless is really a hard metal. And then from there you have to tap it.
Yeah.
And I was fighting with that. I was fighting with that fucking tap. Dude, oh my goodness gracious, dude. You should have seen me over there, man. I was not a very nice human being yesterday. And that's the thing, that's the takeaway, right? Is lately I've been trying to figure out the takeaway from everything.
Yeah.
Not just like big moments, but everything. I try to reflect, and I've noticed that it makes my weeks longer and my weeks more enjoyable because I'm learning so much throughout the week. And so like after the day was done, I I reflected on the way that I was treating people because of my anger, because I just was so goal set on getting these pieces done that I was just being kind of a dick to everybody. And so you can't do that. You can't let shit like that get under your skin. You can't let that affect how you're going to treat other people. Like it's just not the right way to go about things. Holding your composure and just dealing with it in that moment, and kind of understanding where are those feelings coming from. Like why am I struggling? Well, I'm probably struggling so hard because my feelings are getting the best of me. If I would have been more composed and more calm about the situation, well, I probably would have got done quicker because I wouldn't have had those moments of just like wanting to, strangle somebody or throw a car or, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, next time I face something like that, the best thing to do is just to take that breath, fill the lungs up with oxygen, get rid of all that CO2,
Right.
get back into it.
Right. So, do you think you handled the situation wisely or poorly?
I mean, I've been pretty level-headed lately. So I think it was a decent.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, because that's what guys usually go for. I'd
Sure.
say it was like a 6.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Because I mean, you got that garage out there. My mind immediately goes to just like I punch things. I'm like,
yeah,
get an old punching bag. Have you ever thought of that? Get some boxing gloves out there and just go to town on them.
But no.
No.
I'd rather control it, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just the older you get, the more inappropriate that shit gets too, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not saying in terms of just like
Right.
oh, I'm practicing to go beat the shit out of somebody.
Right.
And I'm just saying in terms of, because in my mind, I think that is very controlled, hitting a punching bag. Because if you learn to get it out in a constructive way, so like learning like boxing technique and stuff like that, because I think you could be pretty damn good at boxing. Like if you chose to pick up the sport of boxing, I think you could be pretty good at it.
I want to do jujitsu, Eric.
You're too short. No, I'm joking. I don't know, but no, it also makes sense saying no. I'd rather work through it in an intellectual way than just going out and hitting something. That makes sense.
I guess, call me a puss, but I know I'd get that fucking boxing setup out there, get a punching bag, and go out there with bad technique and just fucking buckle my wrists. Yeah. Yeah, and then what? Now I really can't fucking weld because now I'm justifying punching shit, heavy shit.
You
And then I'm really too weak to be
you just
punching
punch.
shit.
You just punch it one time as hard as you can. You're like, not doing that again.
Yeah, and I just blew another fucking $400 on stupid shit.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That's fair. Good.
I don't know.
Valid argument. Valid points.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you're figuring it out. Which
Dude, I'm
is
trying.
it's the only thing we could do. That's the only thing we could do. It's the
Yeah.
only thing we could do.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good, man. It's great to have an opportunity to just seriously invest everything into myself and just try to figure myself out. Figure out what works. It's fun. It's a cool journey. And it's like the most eye-opening thing I've done so far. I mean, I don't know if you can see that right there? That's the old journal. It's open. It's
Yeah.
open again.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I think it's not only is it a cool journey, but I also think, oh my god.
Not the hair.
I not only do I think it's a cool journey, but it is one that is very challenging in today's world,
Mm-hmm.
very frustrating, very stressful, full of anxiety. But my advice for someone like you or just anybody who's dealing with these kinds of things, and I'm no psychiatrist, but I too have experienced these things, and I like to consider myself someone that can handle a lot that the world throws at me,
Yeah.
whether that's stress, anger, emotion, sad, whatever you want to say, is I've just learned to take it all in and just sit there with it for a moment, and I'm like, okay. It's like we've talked about with the having an open mind. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What has happened that has led up to this moment I'm feeling this way? Why am I stressed out in this moment? Taking it all in and analyzing it all, and then being able to tell myself, okay, Eric, you're stressed out and you're frustrated because you were the one that messed up. It was nobody else. You were the one that I'll give an example. You were the one that didn't go and learn your music. This is why you're stressed out. Or you were the one that was doing a dumb shit in your car. So now you got to spend all this money to get it fixed. I take all these things in and I sit with it for a moment. And people encourage not sitting with it because I think they say, oh, well, it's bottling it up. I disagree with that. I don't think that's the way to do it, is just to completely ignore it. Because if you ignore it, then you're trying to do everything in your power to make the rest of the society just ignore what these problems are. And we can't ignore problems. You know what I mean? If a relationship is in shambles, you don't just ignore the things that are making a relationship in shambles. You address them to make the overall outcome better.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in a business. If you're running a business, you don't avoid the things that are the problems in a business. You address those so that the end product is what you're striving for, a perfect product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when people try to, oh, well, I'm just going to ignore it. That's not it. You need to take it in. You need to analyze it. And then you need to verbally to yourself or to somebody, for instance, you and I talk a lot, is tell someone how you're feeling and what was good, what was bad, how things can differ, because it really helps. A lot of people just don't like to address issues, I feel.
Well, they don't like to address issues because usually it brings up confrontation.
Right. I don't know why
So-
people are so afraid of confrontation.
Well, it's just one of those things, man. It's like it's the whole thing, like getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that's just that person's uncomfortable thing, and there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable with that confrontation.
Right.
And so,
And I think
I
there's...
mean,
Sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I
no, you go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, I think there's a way to handle confrontation. And like you said, people are uncomfortable handling confrontation, but I think a lot of people, they just feel attacked when confrontation happens, and they don't a lot of people don't realize that you need to start seeing where someone else's point of view is. That open
That's
mind.
the open mind. Yeah.
Right. It's seeing that and being like, okay, why is this confrontation happening? Why am I
Yeah.
uncomfortable doing this? Are they actually personally attacking me? You know, and the thing
Right.
is in every psychology book out there, you know, it says dealing with people. If someone's insulting you, the thing that they always say in these books is to say, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's you just have to open up your mind. People are just so close-minded and confrontation. And I will say this, that it's I think human beings inherently do what they see. So if they're seeing all this stuff on, like, I'll give an example, like the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll see all these different opposing sides clashing and arguing. So then the people who are following the leaders, like we talked about earlier in this podcast, they say, "Oh, well, that's okay. That is okay to do that."
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's not okay, but it's done in the wrong way.
Right. Um, and I think there's obviously, I feel like there's, when you break it down in a very simple terminology, there's obviously leaders and followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also depends on what kind of group of people you have. And I would say there's a lot more followers than there are leaders.
Right.
I'd say there's definitely more followers than leaders.
Right.
Um, I don't know where I was going to go with that, Eric.
Well, I'll add on to that. I'll say, and I don't want to get too. I don't want to say politically driven, because this is not, well, it is a place where it's coming from, but I just think that we have not had very good leaders to follow from, and I mean, in a while. It's just hard.
So that gave me some good insight here.
Yeah.
I think I already came up with the title for the podcast. I think it's going to be titled "Following the Leader."
Yeah.
But I just like think about it as, I have to think about it being a manager. How do I want my followers to lead one day?
Right.
Because I have two guys underneath me. How do I want them to follow me? What do I want them to become? I have to show them, ideally, the ideal way of being that leadership character. And I mean, ultimately, they need to have an open mind as well to determine if they're able to pull off what I'm doing, or if they would go about it a different way. But also with that, do I have followers or do I have leaders below me? Because in an ideal world, what you want is, you want to have your subordinates take your position one day. That is the ultimate goal in life, I think. I think ultimately, if you aren't the kind of person to be creating a better next generation, then you're selfish.
Yeah.
Because I want the two guys below me, I want them to be taking over the management position one day. That's what I
Right.
want for them, because I think that's how you create success.
Yeah.
And with that, I can either keep expanding my horizons and keep moving forward, or I can depart and go expand on other horizons.
And I think I mean, to put it in a different way, is to have independent thinkers, to have independent thoughts, because I feel like, and I don't want to talk about school, but a lot of people don't they're not encouraged to have their own thoughts or their own independent thoughts, for that matter.
Yeah.
People who are in leadership roles that should not be in leadership roles don't encourage subordinates, or I don't like that word because it's got a very kind of negative demeanor to it. But
I'm just speaking military.
no, I know, I know what you're saying.
No
It's very,
disrespect,
it's
though.
very, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But a team, they don't
Yeah.
encourage team members to speak up. It's like, and I don't know where this comes from, but they're like, oh, well, that's a dumb thought, you know? And so people don't speak up and they don't speak their minds. And I mean, I could give an example. This just happened recently. I'm singing a piece by this underrepresented composer, and I'm not going to name names or whatever. I'm just going to very generalized. There's a section in the piece of music that rhythmically was not challenging at all.
Okay.
But when you're working with a pianist, it's a collaboration. The pianist was not playing the right thing. And then inherently, I wasn't singing the right thing. And the person who was in charge of that room at the time said, this seems like a very difficult thing. And in that moment, I just said, yes, it's a little tricky. In my mind, it was not tricky at all. It was very simple. It was very cutthroat, very dry, but the pianist was not getting the rhythm. It's it was a very rhythmically driven thing, but in that moment, since the pianist has been around the earth a couple more times than I have been,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of held my tongue and I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna take the blame for this in this instant.
Okay.
And that really bothered me because I'm like, it wasn't tricky at all.
Okay.
I need a big downbeat in the left hand or the left hand, but they were really bringing out the right hand, which the right hand did not have the melody. The left hand did. So it was supposed to go downbeat and dee da dee da dee, but they were dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee, instead of giving me the big downbeat to start a different measure, because once you're in different meters, I'm sorry, but once you get in different meters, you need a clear downbeat, and that is if you're playing in a collaboration or an ensemble where people have to come in at specific times, they need the downbeat. That's one. Clear. That's one in everything. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, because that gives you the beginning of each measure.
Yeah.
They were not. They were really bringing out the right hand, which was just consistent. In the previous measure it wasn't eighth notes, but the downbeat for the next measure was not clear, and I'm like, therefore I'm having a hard time bringing my entrance in. But it's just things like, it's kind of like things like that where I kind of had to just step back and hold my tongue. I don't know where I was going with this, so I'm not even going to try to make a connection because I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Leadership? Something. Fuck. Followers, subordinates.
Yeah. Hold on. It's on it's the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. I was talking about the subordinates eventually fulfilling the role of manager or leadership.
Sorry, Aaron.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
Sorry, listeners. See, that's what happens when I get on a tangent, dude. I get so passionate about it. Now it got me a little worked up. That whole
Yeah,
situation. And now I completely forgot my train of thought of what we were talking about earlier.
I know. Um, do you
I
okay.
just
Okay. Here's something you're gonna just have to forget now.
okay.
Um, a big I think it's kind of crazy. Here's here's something that I've seen develop is the amount of you in your music career. Let's flash back to senior year of high school.
Oh gosh.
I couldn't imagine being in your shoes senior year of high school because I'm pretty sure the entire group of friends that we have, we were super fucking hard on you
Hmm.
for um, taking this musical career on. And we were all doubters. And we were all just like, that is the stupidest fucking thing you could possibly do. You
Yeah.
know, there was no nobody actually had hope for you, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And looking at it now, years later, you are doing exactly what you said you were always going to do. And that in itself is that's just a very, very strong, self-disciplined person that a lot of people don't they don't have that attribute. They don't have that quality. They don't have that mindset.
Hmm.
They don't have that.
Yeah.
And you're not a lazy person neither, which is also crazy.
Yeah.
Um, you've had to work for every bit of where you've got.
Right.
And in the field you're in, it's almost like because it's such a small I consider it a small field. I always compare um, opera and classical music to like libraries
Hmm.
because it's almost like a dying breed. It's like people don't really need books when books are online,
Yeah.
or people don't need books because there's audiobooks.
Hmm.
So now since you're such a like a cornered field of people, you only have like in my opinion like elites. Like you're only fighting for like first place. It almost seems like it's like
Yes.
you don't really have this giant field of people to where you can easily stand out. No, you're fighting against people that are the standouts.
Right.
Because like even in the welding field, dude, you could be a welder tomorrow if you went and picked up a fucking welder from Harbor Freight,
Yeah.
right? Like there's like the welding field is almost it's easier to be an elite welder than it is for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, are you gonna say something? I see
No.
you.
No. No. Go ahead.
Um, so it's just it's cool to see how much self development has gone on in the past 4, 5, 6 years, and like where that's taking you. Because it's motivating for me as well. Because I'm like, because I know that you're like a few years away from something big happening, in my opinion. It's like you've been waiting so patiently for so long. And I feel like one day it's just gonna boom.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck happened to Eric? Why is he all of a sudden like success?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it didn't just happen.
Right.
It didn't just happen. Like it's like you didn't see the behind the scenes. You weren't there for all of it. You don't know hardly anything about it.
Yeah.
So your story is pretty cool in that sense. I don't know where that came from, but like
Yeah.
pretty sick story in my opinion.
Right. And yeah, first of all, thank you.
Of course.
The world of music, and I'm just going to dissect what you said a little bit here. The world of music, it is a very, very small world. Once you get to the top, it's tiny.
Yeah.
A lot of it stems from number one, how I was raised, what I saw from both of my parents, and the self-discipline that they taught me.
Mm-hmm.
I have worked extremely, extremely hard to get to where I am today, which I'm just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And that puts it in perspective for you, is I'm still scratching the surface. What I tell everybody, and this can apply to anything that you choose to do. If you want to be a writer, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be a welder, it doesn't matter what you choose to do. If you keep to yourself, you are consistently trying to improve upon what you did the day before, you are only going to get better. You are only going to improve. It might not seem like it, but you are only going to improve. I have had this constantly for myself. I feel like I'm not making any kind of progress. I will say in the last month, the amount of progress I've made towards my voice technique has been far superior than it has ever been in my entire musical journey. And I'm excited to go to my lessons. Like, I'm starting to get excited to sing music and to perform, where before I was frustrated with myself and constantly like self-doubting myself because I'm like, I'm never going to get this. I'm wasting my time. I shouldn't be a musician because I'm not good enough. But you have to have some of that self-doubt, I think, a little bit to continue to propel yourself. But there was one thing I told myself from day one. From day one, I told myself this when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. I will not be doing a job that I am not fully passionate about, that I'm not fully in love with. I just will not do it. Of course, with every job you are going to do, there's going to be negatives with it. It's inherent. But I told myself, this is what I'm going to do. And I having the background I did with my parents raising both my sister to be extremely, extremely hard workers, I said, there's no reason why I can't do this for a living and make money doing this, because I know for a damn fact that there is not a single person. This is my mindset. It's all subjective, but this is my mindset. There is not a damn person at that school that is going to work harder than me. Period.
Good.
There is not going to be a single person that does that.
Yeah.
There might be someone that has better voice technique than I do. There might be someone that is 16 steps further up the process than I am.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't focus on that. I focus on myself, and I focus on continuing to climb the ladder each step, whether that's voice technique, whether that's learning repertoire, whether that's, getting my name out there, or whatever the case may be. But for me, I'm not even focused on that, because people get into this thinking about, the money. I could care less about the money. Obviously, making money doing it is obviously the end goal, but if that's the driving factor, you're doing this for the wrong reason. Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's funny. hearing it from an outside perspective, for me, in my mind, I think I am kind of in the same place I kind of started when I in high school. Essentially, that's the feeling I have, and I'm continuing to learn how to just get better and better. To
Right.
me, I don't feel like I've made leaps and bounds. Obviously, I have made leaps and bounds, but to me, it doesn't feel like that. To
I
me, it
mean,
just feels like just I'm just singing music and trying to make something so special and so, I don't know.
in my eyes, or in something that I can compare to, is like, dude, you get these. I mean, let's look at high school athletes, right? They always say high school standout athlete, right? Because that's, I mean, essentially that's kind of what you were in high school. You were kind of a standout in vocal,
Mm-hmm.
which is ultimately why you chased this path you're on.
Yeah.
But then you get dropped into the real world where you don't get called a standout anymore.
Right.
You're just you're just an athlete.
Right.
And like you'll see somebody go from college to the NFL in football, and all of a sudden they're just as good as everyone else. They may be a little bit better in some instances, but a lot of times they get dropped into the NFL, and they're now that's when the work starts, you know. And that's kind of where you were, is you got dropped into the real world, and that's when the real work started. And that's when you had to tell yourself, I have to be disciplined to get to where I want to now.
Right.
I have to be, and like I don't know how hard or how much effort you were giving in high school, but it just seemed to kind of come naturally, and it was free flowing.
Yeah.
And then like once you started into college, it was like, well, you went from never really, I wouldn't say complaining, but I'm gonna say complaining. You didn't really have many complaints in high school about anything, and then you hit college, and now all of a sudden you had all these, like, fuck, man, I'm really struggling with this. I have to go to this class. It's gonna suck.
Right.
And then like I think it just went through phases. You went kind of through like you kind of went. I think you have to go through the phases.
Yeah.
It's like everything has phases.
Right.
You're now in the like, I don't know what phase you're in. I'd call it the appreciative phase.
Yeah.
Like you're learning to really appreciate all of these classes you're going to. You're really learning to appreciate yourself.
Right.
And like you're saying that in this last month, you've had like the most development. I don't remember what you said.
Yeah.
In the past month than you have in all the years prior.
Right.
So obviously there's something in there that's changing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll just say the podcast is the reason why.
No, seriously, I honestly do, because I strongly believe that you have to have different kinds of creative outlets. This is a creative outlet for me. Not only is it a creative outlet because I'm doing audio editing and video editing, which I really enjoy doing. It's like a puzzle for me. I enjoy doing that, but it's also allowing me to talk and expand my thoughts more than just a very narrow kind of closed off mind kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to go back to what you said, is in high school I was like, okay, I didn't do a damn thing in high school. I just showed up to the classes.
Yeah.
I sang, and I went to the competitions. I sang. I didn't work hard. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't work hard.
Yeah.
But like you said, then I got to high school. I'm like,
Or you got to college.
college. Yeah, sorry. I got to college. I'm like, ooh,
Oh shit.
okay. There's some very talented people, because
Yeah.
I might be talented, but guess what? There are millions of talented people out there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to relate this. I have a picture my mom got of Tiger Woods, of him holding I don't know if that's the Claret Jug or the U.S. Open. Anyways, he's holding a trophy, and it's right above my
Yeah.
piano, which is my workstation. I don't idolize Tiger, but I look up to Tiger because of his work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
He's waking up at 5 o'clock every morning, eating, hitting the gym at 9 o'clock. He'd run his 3 miles, go hit golf balls, go play 9 holes, go hit golf balls again on the range, then go play another 9 holes, then hit the gym. 5 o'clock, you're done. 7 o'clock, you're in bed. It's like this.
Yeah.
And for me, he is the greatest golfer of all times. And there's a reason. Because he had the talent. Was he more talented than the rest of the golfers out there? He probably had more talent, but what made him different from every other golfer out there during his time when he won his most majors is he worked harder than every single person in that field. He'd go hit golf balls for two. He hit golf balls so much his hands were bleeding.
Yeah.
Now, as a vocalist, I can't sing until my vocal folds are bleeding. But it's that same kind of stuff of a lot with singing. It's a lot of mental. It's a lot of mental torment because there's a lot of intellectual things with singing, like rhythm, which correlates to math, and then you've got the language aspect: German, French, Italian, English, all these things, all these very small details. But I've always considered myself to have a high sense for really small details. Like I don't know what it is with my brain, but if something's off, I'll know. So it's those small, and it's very frustrating because with singers, we rely on sensation. You can't just say, all right, hold down the G string and then press a little harder on the bow. That's not how that's not how the voice works. We all rely on sensation of what we're doing. So these things, and I'm very patient with myself because these things take time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've learned, and like I was saying earlier in the podcast of like the arguments and being hard on yourself, the stress and the anxiety. I take it all in. I analyze it, but I also, which I think I do a lot better than a lot of people, I'm able to let things go. If I'm not getting something, and I'm getting frustrated, I will just take a moment and I will play something random on the piano, like I don't know, something dumb like scales or something that's not even, it's completely irrelevant,
Yeah.
And then with a fresh mind, I come back and I'm like, okay, when I lived in Oregon, I was able to do this. I'd go play 9 holes. 9 holes takes about 2 hours, whatever. I'm outside. I'm getting oxygen. I'm walking. Blood's flowing to my brain. New mindset. Or I'd go hit golf balls on the range, which took like 30 minutes maybe. Boom, reset. But these are all things I got from my dad and my mom. My parents told me all about this. My dad said when I'd get frustrated or I just couldn't focus on my work that I was doing, he's like, I'd go hit the gym. He's like, I go lift weights for 30 minutes, or I do push-ups. I do like 50 push-ups or sit-ups, or jumping jacks, or I'd go on a walk because it's blood flow to your brain. Or I'd take and so I started to incorporate a lot of these things. I'm finding my own things that I do. So that's how I'm able to, for me, and you have to find what's best for you, but how I've been able to progress in this career. And you know what else I do that a lot of people, singers, especially opera singers, have a hard time doing is being a genuine human being. I am just a genuine human being to people. I don't, I'm kind. I just talk to someone like how I'm talking to you, I'm not fake. I'm not fake. I'm real with somebody.
Yeah.
I really demand a lot, but I understand stuff in life happens. A lot of people, people aren't as, I'm not going to say that, but anyways.
I'd say I like what you're saying, but one thing that I lack is like, I feel like I'm overly genuine with like a lack of assertiveness. I think I need to be genuinely a person with assertiveness leadership.
Yeah.
I think that's hard for me. It's hard for me to be like, no, like this is what you were tasked with, and you're at work right now, so you can't just decide that you're going to walk away from this task.
Right.
Because like it's different. It's different when you're at work where things each minute is a dollar sign.
Right.
It's hard because when you want to walk away from something that you're on, you can't.
Right.
You're in a scenario where you can't just go walk away and go to the gym or go hit golf balls or go,
Right.
you can step back and you can take a breath for 5 seconds, regroup,
Right.
recoup, get
Right.
back to it. But you can't just stop midway through a task and
Right.
go change and go do another task because this task is too hard right now.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's a good point. And I've been pretty fortunate. And I think singers, musicians are pretty fortunate about this, is because we have all of this time to prepare a role or repertoire. Well, let's just say you've got 2 weeks to, or let's say you have 2 months prior to a performance. The Metropolitan Opera contacts you and say, "Hey, Eric, we want you to sing The Count in La Notte di Figaro. Here's your contract. You've got 2 months, 3 months to prepare this role."
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time in 3 months where you can perfect this. However, when you get on company time, which there is company time because you're getting paid to do this. So in rehearsals, you can't just, you got frustrated, you get to walk away. That's not how it works.
No.
It's when you show up to rehearsal, that's when we get into like the really small details, the nuance of making this opera special, staging an opera. That's the nitty-gritty stuff. You need to know that role inside and out. It's just like welding. You're not going to have a welder come in and not know how to weld and be like, "Okay, well, let me teach you how to weld." That's wasting company time. That's not how that works. It's you go in there and you know your shit to the T. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, you could be like, as the manager, say, "Well, let's try this, weld this other way." But they have the skills to be able to switch it in their brain. Right. Switch it real quick and try what you suggest. And you're like,
adaptability.
Oh, okay. Right. It's more efficient.
It's tough, dude. It's tough. And it's really weird because like you're saying, you have all this time. Well, you don't have all this time, but you have time to practice to be close to perfect for when it's game day,
Right.
But for me, it's like I go to work and I practice at work.
Yeah.
It's weird. Because I just realized that I get paid to practice my welding craft.
Right. And I say that, but there's also like 3 months you're also doing other contracts. You know what I mean? You're singing recitals every weekend. You're definitely doing stuff. But I mean, opera singers and singers, freelance singer, they're independently contracted. I mean, that's what you are. And contractors, they can take jobs that they want. If they want a month off, guess what? They have every right to take a month off, to say, "All right, I need a month to take a break." Some people aren't as fortunate as this. And I'm going to read you something that actually, because this ties into what we're talking about now. This afternoon, my sister sent something off Twitter, and then my dad commented on it. And I know there's some truth to this because my dad reads a bunch of articles, but it said a 2014 studies by Forbes showed that workers who stay loyal to their company are paid 50% less on the average over their lifetime compared to the ones who change jobs every 2 to 3 years. In other words, loyalty is not rewarded by employers. Then my dad commented. He said, "Completely true. I saw a study in January of this year that said something like folks that folks that stuck with their current employer were getting raises averaging something around 2% last year, while the people that took new jobs was something in the range of 26% pay increase. So if a person is working on an organization, you are definitely better off learning as much as you can, grow the needed skills, and move on to the next employer every couple of years. Now, this is pure financial promo motivation. If you really like what you're doing, the people that you work with and or what that organization stands for can make a person stick around, even though financially might not necessarily be the best decision.
Yep.
And my dad also added, my sister said, 100% agree. Then my dad also added, he said, most of the people that I have witnessed over my career, and my dad said a very, very long career. He's old as shit.
Jeez.
Sorry, Dad. I go witness over my career that have the strength to move on every couple of years, have done pretty well from career perspective. But doing that can sometimes challenge your work-life balance.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I like that he said strength to move on.
Right.
That's totally accurate. Totally accurate
It's
because
hard.
you build this loyalty over the span of X amount of years, and then it really does because you form these work relationships that you, dude. It's almost like it's friendship like because it's a work friendship, and I don't think I really hang out with a ton of people after hours from work, but it's like you're basically saying goodbye to this group of people that you've been loyal to for that time you've been there, and that's a hard thing. It could be an emotional thing.
Right.
I mean, shit, man. After this is so silly, but after I left Cabela's, like the day that I resigned from Cabela's, not even playing with you, I cried. It was
Oh
so,
my God.
it was weird. It was like I was saying goodbye to all those work friends that I had made at Cabela's,
Right.
and like that's just like I mean, Cabela's doesn't matter at all, but it does. I learned a lot in that time period.
Right.
So you're kind of closing that door onto the next, and that's a hard thing to do.
Right. And it's funny that you say like a team, and I have found my team. A lot of people think, oh, opera singers, they don't have a team. I have a team. I have a full-blown team now.
Yeah.
And this is the team on my musical side. I have a team of musical side people, and I want them to be on my team until the day I decide not to sing anymore, which hopefully is the day I have to my physical being will not allow me to sing anymore.
Yeah.
It's hopefully the day I'm done singing. Now, I've been fortunate to be blessed with the team that I got paired up with this team through Manhattan School of Music. And I want to stick with this team for a very long time. Now I need to find the business team, which is the tricky part.
Yeah.
My music lawyer and my publicist and my business manager who books me all these contracts and does all my contracts and all those people I need to find. What do they call those? There's a specific word for them, but I can't remember what
I
they're
have no idea.
I can't remember what they're called. It's like the same thing. Actors, there's
An agent?
the agency. Yeah, you're under an agency, right? And then that agency, you sign a contract with the agency, and the agency gives you like a general manager, all these people, a lawyer, and stuff like that. So I found my music team. Now I just need to find my agents, my
Nice.
music side of it. But
Right.
I am like I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully with this team, they're freaking fantastic. I love them all to death.
Nice.
They make me
That's
a
great.
better musician every time. And you know how I know is because they're constantly challenging me to get better every time I see them. Every time.
Sick.
And
Nice.
that I need that. I need that person to say, "No, you could do better than that, Eric." Because I know I can't. You know.
Nice. It's like a gym partner.
Yeah.
You know, you can just pick up anybody
Right.
to go and spot you, but it's like you need somebody who's gonna fucking push you. Otherwise, you're just gonna be mediocre as fuck.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna shout them out a little bit here. Could you imagine if we had Kirsten and Betsy as our gym partners to this day?
Oh my gosh, dude. That's hilarious.
We would be huge.
That's hilarious.
Dude, you almost you had to go outside.
Dude, I did. I was so down bad and embarrassed, man.
No, you had to go outside because they almost made you throw up.
Dude, I know.
Oh,
I think they fucking planned that shit. They fucking planned that shit.
Oh, I know. They saw these two young kids come. Well, they were our same age, but they saw us coming in. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna rip these freaking noodle cakes to
Noodle
pieces."
cakes. Dude, I have never. They did that. They did that so on purpose. They're like, these guys don't fucking do legs.
I know.
These guys don't do legs. Girls only do fucking legs, bro. Generally speaking.
I'm telling you, I've never been so close to crying in my entire life.
Dude, I haven't been that close to throwing up in the gym since that day. I was trying so hard, dude. 100% effort, though. 100% effort. And you know what? Because of them, that's why I do Bulgarian split squats.
Oh, what are those?
That shit fucks you up. You throw your leg up on like the bench.
Yeah.
And you hold a weight and you squat. I've been doing those lately.
Dude, what did they have us doing? Like 25 pounds? Like they had us had a 25-pound dumb bar in our hands, and we were dead.
Dumbbell? Yeah, lightweight.
Yeah. What did I say?
Dumbar.
Oh, dumbbell. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Now I use fucking, last time I did those, 80s. Yeah. Sorry. I just get really excited about using heavy weights these days because I'm like, finally.
I mean, for me, there's a whole lot of reasons why I haven't been to the gym. Obviously, one is because my gym partner decided to fucking leave Oregon, which is fine. It's whatever. But I seriously, I need that person bad to be like, one more. No, you can actually do one more. Okay, dude. 3 more. I need that person bad. That's going to be fucking ruthless on my ass and be like, I'm not helping you until you do one more.
Dude, this is why kids in high school are so strong.
Dude, seriously.
It's because they have the entire fucking team surrounding them going for a max every fucking day.
Right.
And there's plenty of people to help you spot or like help you bail out of a lift. Like,
right.
That's the thing is like, if you're not pushing yourself to the absolute limit to the point where you have to bail out of a set, it's almost like you'll just never get stronger.
Right. And I feel like a lot of people in the gym are like that. They don't have that person that's like, because look at all like the social media people who do gym, right? They have that person that they vlog with or whatever the case saying, no, you could do one more. Don't be a, you know what I mean? It's like, seriously, and that's why you look at their lifespan of like their physique journey. These people get ripped fast.
That's why I have a home gym now, is because, well, one, I set myself up with the equipment to be able to max out on everything.
Right.
Like I have the equipment that I have has like bailout bars if I need to like bail out of a lift.
Right.
And like,
right.
Like I need to get more weight, obviously, but like if I'm squatting and I need to bail out of a squat, I have the
Got it.
safety bars there, so I can just bail out and not be. I shouldn't be embarrassed at the public gym, but I am.
Yeah.
Um, or like even when I'm benching, like I wish I had a spotter to help me get the weight up, but I'm
Right.
not going to. But I have the safety bars now, so
Right.
I'll be more confident in lifting heavier weight by myself and
Yeah. I think there's a
shit like
different
that.
I think there's a difference between bailing out and being helped out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there is
Um
because you're completing another rep.
right. Right. And I think it's I mean, I think it's perfectly normal too to if you don't have a gym partner, hmm,
Get one.
I mean, you of course you could get one, but finding someone who's like taking a break from you, like, hey, can I get you to spot for me here real quick?
I hate doing that.
I know. And that's, I'm like 50-50 on that and just kind of tell them, just like, don't let me freaking,
Die.
no, don't let me pussy out on it, essentially. I hate to say that, but it's like, don't let me, you know,
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is like you really need somebody who's gonna be a consistent goer with you, like Aaron
right,
has been,
right.
even though Aaron's now moving.
Yeah,
But I tell Aaron, I'm like, dude, do not touch the bar unless I tell you to touch the bar.
right.
I want to struggle until I am almost going to die before you put a finger on that bar.
Yeah,
Like with bench, man, I sat there and struggled with 225 trying to push that shit for like a solid 3 seconds at a mid rep. And then I just shake my head, nope. And then he helps me.
yeah,
You need somebody like a good communicator with that kind of shit.
right,
That's kind of like your team,
right,
you know? They push you to get that extra rep in or like, you can do better than that. Try it
right,
again. Kind of a
right.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't be a puss. I'm going to say it.
Okay, he said it, not me.
Eric,
Yes.
we're at 2 hours.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Oh my gosh, it's 70 degrees outside. Here.
You're shitting my biscuits.
No.
No chance.
Yeah, 70 degrees. Gosh, I
Are you
feel
kidding
old
me?
now, dude. Freaking as you get older, what is the one common thing that always gets brought up in a conversation? Weather. Always. I call my dad.
Fuck.
I call my dad. Guess what? We talk about what's the weather like there?
My mom sends me the weather very frequently. Very frequently.
It's a good
It's
icebreaker.
65 here. That's fucking crazy.
Ooh, dude, it's warmer in New York and
Yeah.
it's sunny too.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a little cloudy now, but
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think we should probably end at 2 hours. Well, I'm probably gonna cut that freaking beginning part
what beginning part?
where we just kind of just said random things.
Whatever. I don't give a shit.
I don't know. I'll have to see.
Yeah.
But I got to throw this in there. If you aren't already, go ahead and hit that follow button on Spotify.
Yes.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Yep.
And if you're already following or subscribed, share it with somebody. Guess what? If you have an Apple device, it's never been easier to share something with somebody. You just hit that little share button, boom, text message. Dude, take a listen to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about a bunch of random shit that never makes sense, but they're funny.
Also, on the podcast on Spotify, I have opened up all the comments on every single podcast. I'm not sure if you, Eric, did that on the previous ones, but somebody did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, weird. Anyways, now they're all available. If you want to comment on any of the podcasts, they're all available. Also, we just had our first post on Instagram the other day. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it not look potato because it looks not the best, but I'm going to start adding clips from the video portion on Instagram. And I think, well, Eric and I are going to talk more about it, so I won't say it, but we're going to try to add more to the Instagram because I think that's a really good way of getting out the good word.
Absolutely. Sharing it. God, it's
Yep.
so easy to share stuff nowadays. Just
Need to
share
start
it, people.
following
God
people.
damn it.
We need like late night tangents business cards with a QR code.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just kind of like they do in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. Just throw them on the ground. Someone's
Yeah.
going to pick it up.
It'll go to a link tree
Yeah.
and fucking click on our OnlyFans.
Oh, gosh.
That's funny.
Oh, my gosh. And on that note, that's all I got to say.
That's it for me.
All right. Bye. No?
What'd you say?
I said bye.
Oh, it sounded like shit. All right.
Oh.
Well, see you later.